Hello, in this WAGO tutorial, we'll show you how to configure alarms and set up email notifications in the WAGO Energy Data Management application. In this video, we're using a PFC200 on which the WAGO Energy Data Management is installed and licensed. Attached to the PFC200, we have an 8-channel digital input terminal and a 4-channel 0 to 10 volts analog input module. On the first digital input, we have connected a switch to demonstrate a binary alarm trigger, such as a door contact. On the analog input module, we have connected a controllable 0 to 10 volts power source to simulate an alarm trigger when a threshold is exceeded. The goal is to configure both alarms in EDM and send an email notification for each trigger. Automated email notifications from WAGO Energy Data Management are only possible in conjunction with an alarm trigger. We open the WAGO Energy Data Management and first set up the two inputs, one digital and one analog. In the summary of inputs, both inputs now appear, and when we activate the switch, the digital input changes accordingly from false to true. If we adjust the potentiometer of the 0 to 10 volts DC power source, the corresponding value is also displayed. Next, we switch to the Alarms tab and add a new alarm, select the alarm, and open the settings window. First, we assign a name and description. For the type, we can select an alarm type. There are 7 different alarm types that allow various parameters to be set. Universal alarm. An alarm is triggered when thresholds are exceeded or undershot and after the configured delay time has elapsed. If the measurements return within the defined limits, the alarm is deactivated only after the configured off delay time has elapsed. We use this alarm type for the analog input. Hardware alarm. Used to trigger an alarm in case of a module fault. Feedback alarm. An alarm is triggered when the feedback reference value deviates from the set reference value. This is suitable for the door contact. Value change alarm. An alarm is triggered if the measurement value deviates from the set step value over the specified period. If the value change is below the step value over the specified period, the alarm is reset. Out of range alarm. An alarm is triggered when thresholds are exceeded or undershot. If the measurements return within the defined limits, the alarm is deactivated only after the configured off delay time has elapsed. Alarm of alarms. An alarm is triggered when two conditions are linked together. System alarm. An alarm is triggered if system or SD card storage capacity exceeds the defined limits or if there is a fault on the local bus. We select feedback alarm and activate the alarm with the enable checkbox. The input type remains as input, but virtual objects can also be used for alarm triggers. The input reference is then our digital input. And for the feedback reference, we specify a reference value that represents the normal state. In our case, the normal state is false, which corresponds to the value 0. The delay time remains at 1000 milliseconds, meaning the alarm is triggered 1 second after the switch from false to true. If the status returns to the reference value within the delay time, no alarm is triggered. Of course, alarms can also be logged, and transmission via MQTT is possible. We now switch to the Mail Sending tab and first enable this option. We can then select when an email notification should be sent. Typically, one would activate the switch to off normal, but depending on the signal, it can also be interesting to get a notification for a return to normal. We select both options. In recipient groups, we can specify which recipient groups should receive this alarm. We will set up recipient groups later in the context of the email configuration. For now, we select the first group. confirm with OK, and the alarm is set. For the analog value, we add another alarm and open the settings window. Assign name and description, and for type, we now select Universal Alarm. Don't forget the Enable checkbox. The input type is again input, and the input reference is now the analog input. Next, we specify the alarm thresholds, for example 8 volts for the upper limit and 3 volts for the lower limit. Our normal range is thus between 3 and 8 volts. In the deadband field, we can specify how much the value needs to return to the normal range for the alarm to be deactivated, preventing unnecessary changes in alarm status due to fluctuating input signals. We can also specify a delay time. In the Mail Sending tab, we enable the Mail Sending tick switch to off normal, select the first recipient group and confirm with OK. Activating the switch on the digital input triggers the door contact alarm. Increasing the voltage on the analog input will cause the alarm message. Upper limit and reducing the voltage will cause the alarm message, lower limit. Reaching the exact threshold will also display this state. With that, the alarms are set up and we can proceed with the email notification configuration. In the File tab, switch to the menu, Email. In the Common area, first enable email sending, then enter the email server credentials. Here, there is an option for SSL encryption, and in this section, we can set up the aforementioned recipient groups. When entering multiple email addresses, they are separated by a semicolon. In the test mail area, we can now test the email configuration. Check the recipient group 1 box and send a test email using the Send button. The status of the email sending is displayed below, and successful sending is confirmed with OK. Activating the door contact now shows a pending message until the alarm is successfully sent. Threshold exceedance on the analog input also triggers an email notification. We check the recipient email inbox and the 2 alarm emails have arrived. And that concludes the tutorial on how to configure alarms and set up email notifications in WAGO Energy Data Management. Please leave us a thumbs up if the video was helpful, subscribe to the channel, and contact the WAGO Support Center if you have any questions.